J is for Jefferson. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. He was the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and our third President. The Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, written by Jefferson, was a forerunner of the First Amendment. With the Louisiana Purchase, President Jefferson doubled the size of the United States. It was a bargain at less than 3 cents an acre. The University of Virginia, designed by Jefferson, was one of his proudest accomplishments. Jefferson's home was Monticello, which he designed and lived in most of his life. Jefferson invented many things, including a plow and this copying machine. Look at the copy machine. And here's a quote, a Jefferson quote. "I cannot live without books." K is for King. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for justice with prayers, peaceful marches, and some of the most powerful words our nation has ever heard. "I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." After being jailed for a peaceful protest, Dr. King wrote Letter from Birmingham Jail, in which he declared, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Because he fought violence with peaceful protest, Dr. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He was only 35 years old. Thousands of people led by Dr. King marched from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama in March 1965. They helped convince Congress to pass a law ensuring that African Americans could vote. L is for Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, guided our nation during the Civil War. He was determined that we would continue to be a single nation. Lincoln's children, Tad and Willie, were the first presidential children to live in the White House. I happened temporarily to occupy this big White House. I am a living witness that any one of your children may look to come here, as my father's child has. Lincoln, born in a log cabin, grew up to be known as Honest Abe. When Lincoln was elected president, Southern states left the Union and the Civil War broke out. In 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved African Americans in the Confederacy. The Union won the war, but on April 14, 1865, Lincoln was killed. A funeral train took him home to Illinois. Americans will remember him always as a great man and a great president. M is for Madison. James Madison, our fourth president, was so important when our nation was getting started that he is called the father of the Constitution. He was primarily responsible for the Bill of Rights. The advice nearest to my heart is that the union of the states be cherished and perpetuated. James Madison's wife, Dolly, was gracious and brave. During the War of 1812, she gathered up important documents and a painting of George Washington before she fled the advancing British, who set fire to the White House. Madison studied governments of other times and places to get ideas about how our own should be formed. Madison was one of the authors of the Federalist Papers, essays that helped convince the states to accept the Constitution. In the streets outside Independence Hall, Philadelphians waited in the summer of 1787 to see what kind of government Madison and the other delegates had decided on. "What have we got?" a woman asked Ben Franklin. "A republic," he replied, "if you can keep it."